Hey there, this is the Penny on Your Thoughts podcast, and I am your host, Penny Chason. I'm a board-certified hypnotist, intuitive, and experiencer. This podcast is about tapping into your subconscious to create a more aligned and abundant life. By leveraging our subconscious, we can master our thoughts, frequency, and vibration. Fusing the conscious, subconscious, and our consciousness is the science of expansion and soul satisfaction. Each week, I'll share in-depth interviews or solo episodes. This podcast was created to share how you have the power to create infinite potential within you. It's my intention that you find this podcast empowering, inspiring, and full of possibility. Now grab your favorite beverage and let's go. This week I had so much fun. We had our celebration. 4 years I have been full-time in my business since walking away from anesthesia. And as a part of that celebration, I held a 2-hour open door party where I invited in some of my past podcast guests. And we did short spotlights highlighting what it is that they are doing now. Now, this celebration ended up being such a synchronicity because every single woman who was in the spotlight was talking about this whole process of coming home to the idea that as women, we aren't meant to hustle and grind. We are meant to lean into our energy and that we can create a business that honors our energy design, our lifestyle that we desire, and that allows us to be mother, partner, wife, all of the things that are important to us without stress and burnout. We're having someone come up on deck now who I just love very much. She's a wild, crazy woman, which is why I love her so much. She trained with me. She's been on the podcast before, and I really recommend you go follow her over on the gram. She put some really fun reels and things out. This is Tina Madsen. Hey, darling, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm excited because, I never think about it until this time of year rolls around again. I'm like, holy moly, 10/11 is coming up again. And I never really thought about that number till our soul sister, Lisa Carpenter, pointed out to me, because when I wrote that resignation letter, I posted it in a Facebook group that we were all in, and she sent me a private message. She goes, your last day is 10/11. And she sent me a screenshot of the meaning of the angel numbers. And I realized I see that number all the time. As a matter of fact, I was going through memories on my Facebook feed today and I have a ton of memories that all come up on that were posted on 10/11. So anyway, I'm happy to have you back here. Especially, that now I think I have a lot of ADHD traits. So share with everybody a little bit about who you are, what you do. And when you and I recorded the podcast, you were only a few months post training in hypnosis with me. So what the heck's going on?
What the heck's going on? First off, thanks for doing this. It's always super fun. And I love being able to just support you, but also to share how you really played a key role in life from, where I was to where I am today, because so much has changed. And as those knots with hypnosis, it's like that ball of yarn. You just kind of continue to keep pulling on it and store more stuff just opens up as you continuously rewire through your subconscious. So Tina Madsen, based out of Whistler, BC. I'm a mama to 2 amazing teen boys, avid outdoors woman, love playing in the mountains. And I'm a hypnosis professional trained by Penny. I specialize with women who have or suspect they have an ADHD diagnosis, but essentially, it's not necessarily just limited to ADHD. It's anyone who's got, those blocks or obstacles or challenges that are happening within them. So I help them to rewire so they can remove the fear of rejection, fear of acceptance, fear of criticism, procrastination, I help people understand what's behind it all and uncover how they can move forward in a way that's without all the, I'm allowed to swear on your podcast, right?
Yes.
Okay. Without all the bullshit of the societal narratives. I feel really, really strongly, and this is as a proud ADHDer, I feel really strongly that one of the most damaging things out there is the societal narratives. And that's specifically why I work within the field that I do. I feel incredibly, fiercely passionate because it's so damaging. And I say that from a place of, I was in that place of feeling like I was damaged and, oh my God, this is as good as it gets. And I, just like everyone else who's listening to this podcast, you are meant for more. And
yes, absolutely. We all are. And it's interesting because I never considered myself ADHD, and navigating being an entrepreneur and seeing the things that that get in the way. Like oftentimes I'm like, oh my God, I'm procrastinating. What is this resistance about? What's going on? And it can just actually be the way that our brain is wired to function. So I stopped forcing myself to fit into a rigid schedule. I time block, and I move those blocks all over the place. Like if at noontime and I feel like, you know what, I want to go outside. I want to sit by the pool. I want to float in the water. I'll just move my time blocks and I go spend my lunch on the pool. And then I'm renewed. I'm rejuvenated. My mind's clear.
And it plays such a huge role, I think, when we learn as individuals what it is that we need. I love all the entrepreneurs that are out there, sharing, tips and hacks and strategies and systems. And I think that there is a place for those things. But if you do not have your shit together in how you perceive yourself, all of the tips, the tools, the hacks, the strategies, you're just going to be running around on this hamster loop. And I'm speaking from personal experience. And I mean, I know you are as well. And it's, once we innately know that we have everything within us to be able to be successful, then we can stop looking constantly. It's, a narrative that a lot of individuals have is, if I just have this, or I need this. And as soon as I have that, and it's another course, it's another program. And, I said it when you interviewed me on your podcast a couple years ago that, I was a serial course taker. And it's because I was so afraid to step out as an entrepreneur. I'd had success in other areas, but I hadn't successfully owned my ADHD because I felt like I was a failure. I felt that way because I was reading all the societal narratives. And, once I went through the process with you, I realized, oh, I don't need any more courses. I don't need any more programs. I have more than enough. And over the past few years, that's just continued to evolve. And since 2020, I have purchased one program. And I'm talking, I have enough programs that are the equivalent programs, certifications. I used to say, like now I say I'm grossly overeducated, but I had the equivalent financially of a monetary spend of a university degree. And now I've actually removed a lot of those programs from my library, and I have two that I reference, and everything else is here. It's oh no, I know how to do this. Oh no, I can do this. Oh, I no longer need to seek externally. And so it's been a really remarkable process. And even the procrastination was one that I recently overcame. I was stuck on some things in my business. I was procrastinating, and it was kind of pissing me off. I was just like, oh my God, like I don't care what other people think of me. I don't care. I'm not attached to whether or not someone chooses to purchase from me. I love sales. I know that I'm smart enough. You know, that Saturday Night Live skit, gosh darn it, you know, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me.
I totally resonate with the getting angry at yourself, because, you know, that just comes from frustration and not seeing things happen the way that we expect them to happen. And I recently made a post because I recognized one day that I really hate the word discipline.
That's the exact thing I worked through the other. Okay.
Yeah. So it forced me to do some self-reflection. So I put a post on my wall. I'm like, what thoughts and feelings come up when I say the word discipline? And 80% of the responses were trauma related. Right. And it was the whole connection of discipline to being obedient and being punished if you didn't follow the rules. And I created a whole audio around that, but it's interesting. So I created a whole reframe around that because it was getting in my way.
Exact same experience. And tell me, how powerful is it for you after you did that reframe?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just looked at it as self-discipline because I used to call it self-integrity. And self-integrity means, well, if it's self-integrity, nobody knows but me. Right. And you still skirt around it. But I'm like, you know what? Discipline is good. It's self-discipline. Like the universe will be the one to decide if I get what I want based on whether or not I choose to follow these actions, which I get to choose what the rules are. Right. That's another part of the reframe is we choose the rules, right? When we're entrepreneurs. The holidays are coming up so fast. You know, it's that time of year when we are lining things up to finish the year with the bang and start the new year on really solid footing. And one of the things I'm a huge proponent of is boundaries. Boundaries around our work time, boundaries around our self-care, boundaries around our relationships, and everything that's important. And sometimes that can feel like a real juggling act, and we can have many blind spots and unexpected bumps in the road that come up. So what I've done is I decided I wanted to bring back my Thrive to Seven Figures workshop. We're going to be having that workshop November 6th through 9th. It's going to be hosted in a Facebook group and live on Zoom. And basically, we're going to be talking about all the different aspects that as entrepreneurs, we get the opportunity to manage and how we can thrive while doing that and growing our business and manage the holidays and family and everything else that goes along with that. I would love to have you join me. The last time I did this workshop, it was just amazing at the breakthroughs and the transformations that people had during this workshop. So I'd love to have you join me. It's pennychason.com/7FIG, 7FIG. Anyway.
We choose the rules for the reframe. However, what I noticed was, cognitively, logically, that critical thinking part of our brain is like, I know all this, right? I know it, but it wasn't actually. So this, I traded a fellow advanced conversational hypnosis professional. We traded. I was like, he's like, what's the problem? I'm like, I don't really know what the problem is, but I'm procrastinating. And so then it was just this natural, easy, simple process of having a conversation, but being in a hypnotic state. So not, just, it was a conversation and all of a sudden and I figured out that, that very same word, it's funny because I actually saw your post, but I didn't register it till just now when you said it, but the word discipline, what I realized in hypnosis is that I perceive discipline as something to move away from, right? So our brain, it's hardwired for pleasure and enjoyment. and it's hardwired to avoid pain. And so, as someone who has an ADHD brain, which whatever that means, the only meaning it has is the meaning that you give it. So it's just kind of like, yeah, I'm a creative badass. That's what I am. But as far as the word discipline, I was making it mean hard work. So I'm launching a new group program, or enhancing upon the one that I previously held. And there's some stuff that's kind of boring, like the tedious back end stuff of a business that someone like Ramona Hooper, who's an online business manager, excels in. That's like her joy. For me, it's pure pain. And I realized that it was just like a switch. It was like, oh, this is boring. It's not engaging for me. Therefore, I'm not going to do it. So a little while ago, instead of actually working in my business that I needed to, I was in the bathroom mudding a hole in the wall, like that happened from the towel bar being ripped out. I was like, this is way more engaging. And I'm just like, oh my God, I was beating my head against a wall going, why am I procrastinating? And I realized it was a switch. I perceive discipline as difficult, or the word discipline, because to be a successful business owner, what's the narrative that we have, or that is lovingly pounded into our brain? What are some of the key components that everyone says, it's a culture that's dying, but says that we need to have as a business owner?
Yeah. And I think, yeah. And I see that get hammered. Yeah. Work hard, Terry says. And I think that people driving that in, you have to have discipline. You have to have discipline. I think that makes it really hard for people who have an aversion to that word. Yeah. Roma says, I say you need systems that work for you. Absolutely.
Totally. Right.
That's totally what we're working on. Well, Tina, if everybody's looking for Tina, I know that Ramona dropped into the chat her Instagram and also her website. So go check that out. If anything that Tina said resonated with you, go check that out. And let me see. My next up is not here yet. All right.
So can I say one more quick thing?
Yes, absolutely.
Ramona just said, Tina, I think you're the salt of the earth. For anyone who is getting acquainted with Penny, or who's just tapping into her podcast, she's brilliant at what she does. If you choose to work with her, she has the ability to be able to transform your mind so you can transform your life. I'm so grateful for you, Penny. Thank you. You've changed everything for me.
I'm grateful for each and every person I've had in my life, because everyone has influenced me.
So thank you.
I hope you can feel my appreciation and gratitude for you, my listener. I would love to connect with you outside of the podcast platform. There are a few ways that you can do that. If you're not already on my email list, you can go to pennychason.com/myth and download the Big Mindset Myth PDF. Or you can go to Instagram and follow me at penny.chason. You can connect with me there. I would love to see you there. And of course, you could always head over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive review of this episode. I appreciate you, and I will see you back here next week.